Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was pretty good. I've been looking forward to this film for a while, and after hearing that Sam Raimi would be directing it, I got pretty excited to see what Raimi would do with the project. And he definitely didn't disappoint. Now, I don't think this is the best MCU film ever, but it's definitely up there with some of my new favorites. If you're going into this film with the expectation of there being a bunch of cameos or a bunch of stuff setting up future MCU projects, you're gonna be really disappointed. This film prioritizes telling its own story over cameos and fan service, and honestly that's extremely refreshing. There are some fun cameos, and I love how they're handled, but I'll get into that in the spoiler part of the review. They really allowed Sam Raimi to have more creative control than a lot of MCU projects do. A lot of times directors are forced into the MCU formula, so it's nice that they let Raimi have his own style in this film. And the horror elements are done pretty well. Not the scariest stuff in the world, but it's pretty cool seeing horror elements in an MCU film. And there are some pretty brutal deaths and kills, especially for an MCU film. It's not gory or violent on the same level of an actual rated R film, but I definitely didn't expect an MCU film to be this brutal. Alright, I'm gonna get into some spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the film or just don't care, skip to this timestamp on screen. Alright, 3, 2, 1. I honestly didn't expect Wanda to be the main villain of this film, but I think the reveal that she was done pretty well. I don't think she's my favorite MCU villain, but she's definitely up there with some of the better ones, and I overall really enjoyed WandaVision, so seeing her story continued and wrapped up in this film was pretty nice. Now it's time to talk about some of the cameos. Seeing Reed Richards, Black Bolt, and Maria was pretty cool. Captain Carter and Charles Xavier were pretty much already confirmed in the trailers, so it's no surprise when they showed up, but I honestly love how these characters are brutally killed off minutes after they're introduced. I'm not trying to say I hate any of these characters at all, but I think their deaths reinforce the idea that this film isn't here to set up any future MCU projects, it's just trying to tell its own story. Overall, Multiverse of Madness had a ton of style, is one of the first MCU projects in a while, excluding Moon Knight recently, that tries to just tell its own story instead of trying to set up future films. It's refreshing seeing the MCU let a director put their own style into a project, but at the end of the day, the MCU has a lot of competition in terms of superhero and comic book related media, especially considering the projects I'm showing you on screen have taken way bigger risks and have allowed the people behind them to have almost total creative freedom in some cases. It's an MCU film that took some risk. At the end of the day, they really paid off. If you just want a film with a ton of cameos, you're going to be really disappointed, but if you want a fun story that tries to do its own thing, you'll definitely enjoy it. Anyway, I'm the YouTube Addict, and I'll see you in the next one. Check. Watch